Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Pixel Report. I think this is the third one. I don't know. I'm already losing track. Anyways, today we're going to talk about the Pokemon Sword and Shield DLC or expansion pack or whatever the hell you want to call it. The reason why I want to talk about it is because of a simple mishandling of something that has caused a really big debate online. But before we get into that, I just want to briefly talk about the kind of features and new things that it's going to bring to Pokemon Sword and Shield. So this new DLC is going to bring, the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra. Those are the names of the DLC expansions. There's two, and one is getting released on Wednesday. But essentially, it's going to bring a new island for you to explore, new Pokemon for you to catch, and level scaling, which basically means if you have a level 60 Pokemon, the trainers in that specific area will have level 60 Pokemon, which I think is pretty cool. It's a long time coming for Pokemon for sure, because one thing that the games have always lacked is a real sense of an end game, because since probably Pokemon Heart Gold, there hasn't really been a real reason to keep playing the game after you finish them, aside from filling out your Pokedex, which by the time Heart Gold was released was a ridiculous feat of like 493 Pokemon, I think is what it was. But anyways, yeah, so it adds that. It adds a whole new continent for you to explore and a new Pokemon to catch. But the controversy or the slight mishandling that I want to talk about is the fact that people can buy the wrong versions of the DLC. And what I mean by that is, if you own Pokemon Sword, you can accidentally buy the DLC for Pokemon Shield, despite not owning Pokemon Shield, and it won't work. Now, people on Twitter have pointed out that this is actually very difficult to do. You have to be really, really dumb to do that and just completely ignore a giant font and a giant logo that says that this is for Pokemon Shield. But the point is, why does Nintendo let you do that? Why does it not stop you? Like, I don't own either of the games. I tested this earlier. I don't own either of the games, and I can buy the DLC. It will not stop me from buying it. And obviously, I'm not dumb enough to actually purchase it. There is a lot of menus you have to go through, but Nintendo needs to make a better effort on de-stupidifying things, because there are some really dumb people out there and they just want to profit off them, I guess, which more power to them. But I just think that it's really shady that Nintendo will not stop you from buying these DLCs, and also the fact that they won't refund you if you accidentally buy the wrong DLC. Now, some people have argued that it's their fault, why should they get a refund? They're the ones that messed this up. When it's like, yeah, okay, I get it. But that's kind of shitty, where it's like, well, I just spent $30 on a product I can't even use. Like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I'm just because I messed up or I read wrong. Like, I should still get a refund. I still want to buy the DLC. It's not like I'm going to play it for an hour or two and then refund it. I literally cannot play it, which I think is really stupid for Nintendo not to do. At least they should let you do an exchange or swap. I mean, we don't know if they're going to let you do that, but it's super strange to me that it's designed that way. And that brings me to my next point of, why is there even version exclusive DLC? I understand that there's different Pokemon that you can catch throughout versions, but that has been such a tired and old excuse for years now. Like, the only reason why Pokemon gets away with this is because that's how it started with like Red and Blue. And the main argument that people have is, well, they have different Pokemon, so it encourages trading and meeting people, which that's great. But we have moved so far beyond the need for that nowadays. Like, why not just have all the Pokemon available in one version? I mean, that whole argument is just countered by the fact that that versions like Pokemon Platinum, Pokemon Emerald, and Pokemon Crystal exist. You can catch both version exclusives in one game. It's very clear that Nintendo doesn't really care about that, because they release these versions. I mean, they haven't done it in a while, to be fair, but it's still super strange to me that people still use that point to argue that, because Nintendo themselves don't really seem to care. I mean, we know the reason why they release two versions nowadays. It's to maximize profits because they know people will buy either one or both versions. And same goes for this DLC. The reason why it's two different ones is because people own both Sword and Shield and they will buy both expansions. It's like, well, it's cheap, so it's okay. But it's like, you just spent $60, like, and Nintendo knows that. You just spent a full price game on two of the exact same DLC packs. The only difference between them being the Pokemon that you catch. And yeah, I have a whole lot of problems with this business practice. I made a video all about why I'm not going to buy Pokemon Sword and Shield, and I still haven't bought in the game. Just whatever. Like, if you bought it and you're enjoying it, that's great. More power to you. Just wasn't for me, and it's a very clear disconnect to what I originally really loved about the series, but that's beside the point. I don't understand why Game Freak still does this, and I don't understand why Nintendo is still allowed to get away with this. If it was any other company that did this, especially if it was like EA or something, oh my god, there'd be a fucking dumpster fire. But because it's Nintendo and, I grew up with them and they can do no wrong, they have this veil of protection of online fanboys that will just fucking scream and all the way to the cows come home defending this multi-billion-dollar franchise, which is just ridiculous to me. So yeah, it is really stupid. The people that are buying the DLCs for the wrong game are really stupid. There are a lot of warnings on the eShop, and it tells you that you need this version to play the game. So really, there is no excuse for you to accidentally buy the wrong DLC. And I think even when you go to buy the DLC in the game, it takes you to your versions of it. But Nintendo should have really thought to de-stupefy these sort of things and try to prevent it so that it tells you, hey, you literally cannot buy this unless you have the DLC. So make sure that you're buying the game first. Like, I understand that there are stupid people in this world, but there's also kids. And kids are really stupid. They don't know the difference, and their mom's credit card is already loaded up into the Nintendo Switch. So if they buy the DLC, their mom is shit out of luck, unless they can do a swap or something in the future. But yeah, this is going to be a little bit shorter of an episode of the Pixel Report. I just really wanted to talk about this. I did not want to talk about the PC gaming show because that was a total fucking snooze fest. It was everything I did not want the Sony PlayStation 5 event to be. It was filled with unnecessary skits, really slow and boring interviews that were just like the same questions, like, so what are you doing in this game that's different from the last game that you made? And it was just a mess, and a lot of the game reveals were really uninteresting. The only ones that really stood out to me was the boss game where you're like an evil villain, and some of the RTSs that were shown, and then I guess Torchlight 3. But for the most part, I did not want to talk about that. I would much rather have bitched about Pokemon for 7 minutes because of the video I made last time, and because of the video I previously made on Sword and Shield, and you can go check that out. But aside from that, that's all I really want to talk about. So thank you so much for listening to this episode, and have a great rest of your day.